Yay, it's me. I grew up in South Dakota. Many of you think it's a tropical paradise. It is not. Periodically, South Dakota endures some brutal, brutal winters. It was during one of these great winters that I had an amazing idea. I grew up with a mother that told us, my brothers and sisters, that we could become anything we want. What a beautiful vision. I had shoveled our driveway and I was shooting baskets, 9 years old, an idea hit me. I ran in the house, screamed, "Mom!" Took off a jacket, my boots, a couple more jackets, 6 hats, another pair of boots. It was cold. It's hard to wear 2 pair of boots. And I yelled, "Mom!" And she was sitting there drinking coffee. "I know what I want to be when I grow up." Out of breath. "Yeah, I know. Remember you said we could become anything we want." And she's sitting there drinking coffee. She goes, yeah, that's true. I said, "Mom, I want to play basketball." She goes, "Yeah? For?" "Yeah, the Harlem Globetrotters." Her face went blank. She didn't say anything, but I'm pretty sure I saw her lips go. This is a parental dilemma. She could have at that time chosen to be a dream killer. She could have said, "Uh-oh." She could have said, "You need a backup plan." She could have said, "You'll never do it." She could have told me, "I lied to you." A mother doesn't want to do that. She could have shown me a team picture, right? Not being that bright, I might have looked at it and said, "Oh, I get it. They're all big." And I wouldn't have figured it out. But my mother at that time said, in order to be good at anything, you have to be a great basketball player to do that. In order to be good at anything, you need to practice a lot, and you really need to want to do it. What beautiful advice. She shifted the dialogue from me with the delusional dream to what I had to do to succeed in anything. It was a beautiful, beautiful tactic. So I'm going to share with you something that never happened. Can you find me in there? I was so bummed out. Look how happy they'd have been to have me. Wouldn't that have been cool? So that never happened, and I wanted that so bad. But what I figured out, and it planted a seed in me, well, if I want that, what do other people want? And I came up with a very simple formula, because I bump it down to the Forrest Gump, Dan Schoepf level of understanding. This is the formula. We all want money. We all want to sleep. And we all want to smile. We all want to be happy, right? But we don't want a pile of money today. Well, we kind of do. But we want it to last. We don't want to sleep well just tonight. And we don't want to smile just for a minute. We want it over time, right? That's the formula. Pretty simple. There are 313 million people in the United States. A majority today are here legally, and we all want this. Pretty fascinating. So how do we get this? If we're not getting this, what do we need to do? Something needs to change, doesn't it? Well, here's what could change, and here's what the path of change looks like. Anytime you start out doing something, it seems easy, right? Youthful naivete. I got this. I can run a marathon, blah, blah, blah. My fat neighbor did. I can do it, right? I can do it, and it's easy. I got shoes. I got feet. I can do it, right? And you start out doing something, and it becomes it's easy. I can do it. Then you take the next step, and this is where it gets hard. Your language changes going, this is harder than I thought. I'm not sure I want to do this. Then there's a big gap here, right? People quit there. It's easy to quit. Mark Twain said he quit smoking thousands of times. It's easy to quit. I'm going to come back to that gap. But if you can get over that gap, your language changes. It goes from, I think I can do it, to I am doing it, to finally I did it. That's a beautiful feeling. And that's the point at which the famous barefoot philosopher we all know and love, F. Flintstone, calls the yabba dabba do moment. That's it. That's cool, right? And Dostoevsky said that reaching one goal is the starting point of another one. Look back to learn and celebrate. But I want to go back to this gap where we quit, or people quit. How do we fill that in? We fill it in with 5 whys. Why do we want to do this? It's going to feel good. It's going to motivate us. It's going to prove people wrong. You fill that gap in, and pretty soon it's not a gap. It's just a step to success, right? But we need to change our thinking to do that. There's something called an assumed constraint. And that's a belief you have based on your past that limits your future, an assumed constraint. Scientists showed a good example of it. They put a northern pike in a big aquarium with minnows all over the place. Minnows swimming, pike eating them, right? Then they put a divider down the middle of the tank. The minnows on one side, pike on the other. Pike couldn't get to them. Remove the glass, minnows were easily available. Did the pike eat them or not? No. In the mind of the pike, those minnows became unreachable. That's an assumed constraint we need to break. We need to get over that. Tolstoy wrote, "We will end up where our thoughts take us." Earl Nightingale said, "We become what we think about most of the time." Those are powerful things, thoughts. But if we're going to use thoughts, and periodically I've been known to do it, not consistently, I'm going to use my thoughts to direct me somewhere. And how do I do that? With goals. Goals are formed 6 ways in my mind. First way a goal is formed is when you get a mental picture of it. Use all your senses, but you need to close your eyes to do it. Because if I have my eyes shut, I'm a globetrotter, baby. I'm spinning the ball, I'm shooting. I open my eyes and reality starts coming in, and then I find ways to not do something. A firm mental picture. The second way goals are formed is when you write it down. It moves it from your head to your wrist to a commitment you're making to yourself. The third way goals are formed is when you say them. Say them out loud. Fourth way is when you share them with others. This is a controversial thing. If I had a crazy goal, or people might think it's crazy, I share it. Then I know who's going to be with me and who's not going to be with me. And I will just not talk about that goal with those that feel I can't achieve it. The fifth way goals are formed is when you take action. You have to take action. None of that matters unless you take action. The sixth way goals are formed and come to life is when you see them every day. Be present. You got to see them every day. So we've talked about the path of change. We've talked about goals. And SMART goals, as a chief learning officer once upon a time in my life, let that sink in a minute. That should frighten you. Yeah, I know. Chief learning officer, I preached and taught and cajoled people on SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timed. I pushed and pushed and pushed. Please do that. But not everybody succeeded, right? So what I found out was who succeeds in life? Who really succeeds in life? And what I learned was people that set harder goals. SMART goals are not enough. Harder goals look like this. They're holistic. They encompass your mind, your body, and your soul. It's all aligned. They're aggressive. Harder goals take you out of your comfort zone. They get you over Galton's wall, which is also known as the okay plateau. Too many people settle and say, that's okay. It is not. You're better than that. Harder goals are related to your mission, your vision, your philosophy, and your values. It's aligned. Harder goals are demanding. They aren't sometimes things. They aren't part-time things. They aren't goals where you use language as, I'd like to do this, or wouldn't it be fun? They're committed. They're demanding of you. Harder goals are also exciting. They're emotion-driven versus fact-driven. The Wright brothers said, we couldn't wait to get up in the morning. Think about that. That's exciting. And harder goals are also restricted to a few people. The man on the mountain, the woman on the mountain, they didn't fall there. They worked hard to get there. Harder goals. But guess what? Sometimes that's not enough. People still blend in. What would happen to this hot dog right here? How long is he going to last, right? He's going to look pretty cool with his friends. You guys check me out until Mr. Eagle comes by and grabs him. Dude, look at me. Ow, neck, eagle. Don't do that, right? Our goals are not like this. Our goals are to stand out. This is survival. Your goal, the art of being human, is thriving. Be courageous. Get outside that bell curve. Do something different. Sometimes you can't do it alone. I've done nothing great alone. I'm blessed in my life. I'm a very, very fortunate person. And I look back on some of the ways that I've been blessed. The success formula to achieve anything, there are 5 ingredients. The first one is knowledge. Have you heard that knowledge is power? Somebody lied to you. It's wrong. Applied knowledge is power. Knowledge is inert. The people that apply it win. The second ingredient is your skill. How good are you at applying it? The third ingredient is your education and training. Be a lifelong learner. The fact that you're here indicates you're looking to learn. The fourth ingredient is experience. Experience helps you determine when it's going to cloud up and when you should panic. You can't fast forward experience. You can't steal it. You can't borrow it. You earn it. And sometimes the hard way. Edmund Vance Cook has a beautiful poem called How Did You Die? I love the poem. And in it there's a stanza that goes, a trouble's a ton or a trouble is an ounce. A trouble is what you make it. It isn't the fact that you're hurt that counts, but only how did you take it. Think of the beauty of that. Is a trouble a ton or a trouble an ounce? We all know people that have a little thing go on, and it's the biggest thing, right? Oh, the sky is falling. Experience, education and training, knowledge and skill. 4 additive ingredients. Successful people know this. Desire is the only multiplier in life. Everything is additive. Desire is the only multiplier in life. People with a strong desire know the value of time. They know Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law is work expands to fulfill the time allotted to complete it. There are people that have 20 hours of work, but they know they need to be there 40 hours. What happens? They move a little slower, right? Fill it up. People with great desire also understand, and a great friend of mine shared this number with me, 86,400. There are 86,400 seconds in a day. The person that spends them the best wins. Harder goals help you value time. But that's not enough. Sometimes we need some inspiration, some stories to get us over the hump, and I'm going to share a couple with you. Rocky Versace was a POW in Vietnam. He died in captivity. Many years later, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. Rocky he spoke 5 languages. He told the North Vietnamese to go to hell in all 5 languages. He tormented them so much, they focused all their venom and anger on him, and it relieved the pressure on fellow prisoners. The last time they saw him, they were dragging him off through the jungle. They had dislocated both shoulders. He was singing God Bless America at the top of his lungs. I get goosebumps telling that story. That's inspirational. Oh, you're having a tough day? Really? Really? You don't want to pick up the phone and call that person? I don't think so. My youngest sister, Kathy, 3 children, she was diagnosed with stage 4 uterine cancer. Completely invasive, really, really aggressive. She kept an incredible positive attitude fighting it. She sent an email to us. She'd always send these funny emails. Worst thing about cancer is I'm losing my hair and I look like Dan, me. And I responded, bonus, thank you, cancer, lucky. She had an incredible attitude. About a year later, I get a text, and it says, Kathy 1, cancer 0. You talk about harder goals, that's inspirational. My favorite story is this. A man in 1963 was given 6 months to live. Lived in California, swimming pools, movie stars. Moved to South Dakota, snow and buffalo. So when he died, my mom would have help raising us. From 1963 to 1974, he was in the hospital 7 of those 11 Christmas days. We didn't have much, didn't know it though. Still had that dream I was going to be on the Globetrotters. He had an incredible sense of humor. He lived 40 years. 40 years. Finally, he died of bone cancer, of all things. About a week before he died, I had him sign this baseball. Bill Schoepf, 49. When I'm not traveling, it's home. It sits in my bathroom. I see it, and that baseball says a lot to me. Don't take anything for granted. Live life to the fullest. Have a sense of humor. Before he died, cancer had emaciated his body. I sat there with him on the bed in my mom and dad's house, and he said, Dan, I figured out how to hit God's fastball. That heart disease, I kill it. He started throwing the damn curveball, and I just can't hit it. That was his sense of humor. What an inspirational story. Seneca wrote that on the deathbed, man is afraid. When you're dying, man is afraid. And man is not afraid that he's dying. Think about this. What man is really afraid of is that he never really lived. Think about that. The art of being human is really living. Also, the art of being human is setting really, really hard goals. And candidly, some goals are harder than others. I haven't hit this goal yet. See this? Thank you very much.